Welcome to the Bravely Connected podcast. I'm your host, Connie Jakab, and today I'm coming at you after a week of being away on the West Coast, working in 3 high schools. Absolutely loved it. And I'm recording this on a day when it's usually my day off. I wear a hat, I wear a hoodie, I clean my house, I make my food. And so if you're watching on YouTube, you get Connie on a Saturday. And if you're listening on Spotify, well, that's wonderful. You don't have to see a thing. I want you to hit the subscribe button because for the next few weeks, I am going to be leading you through how do we create bravely connected spaces where people can form friendships. Today, this is a huge deal. We don't know how to do friendships. And that was the number one thing that I hear from teachers, from parents, workplaces, people. People are lonely. Isolation is a huge problem. And in the 3 high schools that I was in, many of you know what I do for my work in schools. I use a very interactive social experiment using hip hop and the hip hop circle on how to create bravery and getting students to notice what creates bravery and what creates anxiety. It's very experiential. We never know what's going to happen, but there's always learnings. And this week, what came out of those circles was kids were like, you don't understand. Like, if I am brave and put myself out there, I'm committing social suicide. And I thought about our world today. We want vulnerability. We read Brene Brown and we go, yes, I love that. But then when we think about actually becoming vulnerable and becoming brave, we're like, yeah, no, I can't do that because we feel the same way. Students, employees, people in our homes, if I am vulnerable and I step out, it's social suicide. Someone is going to weaponize this against me. Now I'm weak because we live in a powerless society where people don't know the basic skills of how to hold one another's bravery, how to hold one another's vulnerability. Instead of moving towards one another, we're moving away. We become more individualistic and autonomous because that's safe. The only problem with that is that we can't be people focused when we're individualistic. But then if we swing the other way and we become so connected, we become absorbed with people pleasing, no boundaries. We don't know how to separate ourselves and be autonomous. And so, what I want to do in the next few weeks, and I'm going to be inviting you into a fun challenge, is I want to actually teach you skills on how to cultivate your own inner brave belonging. Now, you can use this for yourself. You can use this for your students. You can use this for those who you lead. But if we want to create brave environments where people can truly feel alive, where we see anxiety lessen, there's no way we can do that just existing the way we are right now. It's been an incredible way for me to use this social experiment, for me to stay on a front line, to see where our kids are at, where our people are at. That's why I love coming to where you are. I love being on the front line with you. I don't just have theories. I want to get out there and I want to experiment and see, okay, how's our connection temperature right now? And it's pretty low. However, that being said, this week we saw kids with anxiety going in the middle of the circle. We saw kids learning how to put aside judgment to be able to hold space, even for kids that they don't like. It was beautiful, but it has to be cultivated. And what I'm finding is that it has to be cultivated by people who know that you belong. One of the things when I was a parent, just with my own boys when they were young and we were going through a mental health crisis, is that I put a lot of worth in how my kids behaved. I put a lot of worth in how my classroom goes. If it goes well, great, I'm doing good. I'm a good person. If it's not going great, I suck. And I want to move us out of that. I want to move us out of determining from other people whether we're great or whether we suck. Because to be honest, no one has that kind of power over you. And if anyone or any group of people have that kind of power on you, you need to give up that mental real estate. You need to sell and move to another place. You need to put that up for sale because you're about to earn back all of that worth that you've sold away to others and now get it back. So That's what I want to do today. I want to teach you 3 ways to cultivate inner belonging. And then I want to show you a way that we can move forward together in a 45-day challenge to be able to create that inner belonging so that people's moods don't affect yours. You can stand in chaos and you can be the bottom hands. I want to teach you how to not allow other people's opinions to sway you so that you can be that leader, that culture creator in your community, in your home, in your school. Because if you are swayed by people's opinions, oh my goodness, that parent said this, maybe I should change myself. No, you need to learn how to differentiate so that you can be the leader, you can be the culture creator without being a dictator. That's a fine line, friends. And so I want us to do that. And first, I want to start you off with a tool that I've used for years. My own inner belonging work has been very personal. Everything that I'm going to share with you in the 45-day belonging challenge is what I have done to cultivate an inner belonging that allows me to stay separated from other people's moods, not dive into people pleasing, not drown when people don't like me, because trust me, they're out there. You might be listening. It's okay. It's okay. I'll never forget the one time I was sitting on my couch because I'm a little bit of an oddball. I mean, let's put it this way. I often say to students, I'm a 50-year-old woman who still is into hip hop. I still teach dance. And they're all like, that, no, 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 that's super cool. I'm like, okay, now think of your mom doing that. And they all go, oh, yeah. Like it's weird. Okay. So back, when my kids were born and people are thinking about their nice strollers and they're going out for coffee with all the moms, I'm trying to find like the local hip hop cipher. I'm going to rap battles at night. Like I've always been a little bit of an oddball. I think different. I'm not your usual. And for years, I just struggled with wanting to fit in so badly and not knowing where I fit and how to fit. And I let other people's moods dictate me, how I would feel. If someone mistreated me, I mean, it just destroyed me for months. Like, I don't get it. And so one day I'm sitting on my couch, and every morning I start with just some quiet time for myself. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden it was like, whoa, I belong. I had this revelation that I belong. Now, I always knew this in my head. We always hear it, right? You belong. But no, this became very real, like deep inside. It hit me. And I got this tattoo. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my tattoo faces outwards. And it was like, I don't have to depend on anyone to create this belonging for me. I can walk into a room of strangers and I belong. I can walk into a room of grade sevens that are uh, aloof and I belong. I can have my family angry with me because of a decision that I made. I belong. I can walk into a group of women who are intimidating and they don't create that for me. For so many years, I walked into rooms and I looked around kind of like, you need to make sure I feel like I belong here. And now I walk into rooms going, I already belong. You don't have to create that for me. And now maybe I can help someone else out. So the heart faces outwards because I can extend my hand even to someone who's deeply wounded me in my life, someone who has deeply hurt me. I can be who I am and extend my hand out in connection with boundaries. In fact, that's what I want to show you right now. This is something that I showed the girls was this sheet of paper. Now, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, I'm going to describe this to you. But basically, there's a little dot. It's like a little bullseye, and then there's a bunch of rings, kind of like a dartboard. And the little dot right in the middle is you. It's me. And then just outside of us, there's the inner circle. This represents people in your life who deserve to be close to you. Now, sometimes that's not your family. Like we think, oh, there should be people, we have ideas of who that should be. But here's the thing, not everyone who is supposed to be close to you should be close to you. So for me, I have about 5 people or less, to be honest, who have journeyed with me for a very, very long time. They know my strengths, they know my weaknesses, they know my best, they know my worst. They call me up when I am in the dirt. They have got my back. They will tell me straight when I'm like being stupid. These are people who I have in my inner circle. And the problem is when I try to put someone who I think should be there or who I want so bad to be there, but they don't want to be there or they shouldn't be there. They're toxic. They've treated me poorly. When I try to put them there, it literally creates chaos in my brain. And so identifying five or less people. You were not born for popularity, friends. This whole social media world where it's like, I need to have so many followers and people like that actually is quite bad for our brain chemistry. It's bad for our hearts. We were not born for that. We were born for close-knit relationships that feed our soul and we feed them. And so if we're trying to get our worth from people, the masses, oh, you are going to live in chaos. And even if you're trying to get your worth from the inner circle, you're going to live in chaos. But to know that you have people who really do have your back, you only need one or two. That's all you need. And that's all these kids need. And so your whole classroom does not need to get along. Your whole community does not need to get along. However, your classroom, your home, your community needs to know how to work with people because people are ridiculous sometimes. And so I taught them, hey, who are your inner circle? And then on a little bit of a further outside ring, you've got your acquaintances, you've got your classmates, you've got your workmates, you've got people who live on your street, you like them, they like you. And then maybe a ring even just further a little bit out, that's your Facebook friends. They kind of know you, you kind of know them, and it is what it is. It's our weird world online. But then you've got this outer ring. And this ring is for people who have not earned the right to be close to you. These are people who have wounded you, betrayed you, hurt you, been toxic towards you, traumatized you. They're on the outer ring of your life. Now, a lot of people give way too much real estate to people who are on this outer ring instead of simply doing this. Okay, I want to teach you something very simple. I literally want you to identify the people who I've just described. I want you to put them on the outer ring of your life. You don't need to do anything about them. You can literally be in the same room with them, but let them be. Let them go. Let them be. Just leave it. The problem is when we give these people real estate, they actually move in our hearts and in our minds towards that inner circle. And that's why you feel chaotic. You feel chaotic when you're giving them the kind of mental and emotional and relational energy that you're giving to people who are close to you. Now, what happens is sometimes, and what I've noticed in schools, and this is what a lot of the kids brought up to me, was they were like, oh, like if I have a beef with someone, so if you're watching on YouTube, I've got my two thumbs, they're coming together and they've got beef and it's just between you and another person. And that's the way it should be. That person and me have a problem. But what we do because we feel powerless is not only do we bring our beef towards one another, but we include another person. Yeah, we try to talk, oh, I just need to share with you a little bit about so and so because they're just driving me crazy. Too much real estate. You're giving them too much real estate. You're bringing them from an outer ring of having a proper boundary of you stay over there. I'm going to be here. I got my inner circle. I know where to put you. You're bringing them back into your center and you're causing chaos for yourself. And now you've brought other people in there too. This is called triangulation in mental health. And then sometimes we even add three or four or a whole community. And now the very culture that we're trying to create in our communities and in our homes and in our schools get completely blown up because we don't know how to handle beef with one other person. We don't know either A, how to put them on the outer ring of our life and just leave them alone, or we don't know how to talk it through. Maybe we need a mediator. And then after the mediation, it's like, okay, you're on the outer ring. What do you need in order to put a toxic person on the outer ring of your life right now? What do you need? I want you to name it. I want you to name it while you're driving your car and listening to this. I want you to name it while you're on your walk. I want you to name it while you're watching me. What do you need in order to put that person on the outer ring of your life? Because they're fine. Trust me. They're probably not even thinking about you at all. And if they are, well, they need to do the same thing. That's not your problem, is it? That's theirs. Problem is that you're being tortured and your belonging and your right to belong is being stolen in this moment. And so what I have found with schools is that this is what teenagers do. Mostly girls. I don't mean to stereotype, but this is what I've noticed in schools. This week I was in three high schools and this is what they said. Yeah, it's not just me and the other person. Now I've got a whole Snapchat conversation with everybody ganging up on that one person. And that one person now doesn't want to come to school. And it was so funny because I'm listening to these teenagers and I'm like, we adults are the exact same. And what is the underlying emotion? So remember how behavior is communication. So behavior up here is I'm getting everyone involved and I don't know how to like separate myself from this person. But underneath is this feeling of powerlessness. I need to take control. I need to feel like I have some kind of control here. The only way, friend, and I'm going to speak to you straight because you come on here because I care about you. That's why I show up in my baseball hat and my sweatshirt today. I care about you so that you feel like you can move forward in your life. And so that is a great way to do it. Identify your inner ring people, identify all those rings, and then who needs to be on the outside and what do you need in order to get them there and sell your real estate of the mental torture you've put yourself through and let them go. Now, the last thing I want to share with you in this podcast is that one of the things that we realized in this one teenage girl, she was just brilliant. I said, how do we solve this problem then? If you feel like if you're brave, it's social suicide, then all of you are going to spend your high school career hiding from one another, moving away from one another, and the cycles of bullying and anxiety, they're just going to stay. And nobody wants that. Everybody wants bullying to stop. Everyone wants anxiety to lessen, and everyone wants brave connection to rise. So how do we solve this problem? And this one girl puts up her hand and she says, you know what? I just need to know that I belong to myself. I just need to find belonging in me. So it brings us right back to where we started with my tattoo, that I belong. You do not create belonging for me. Guess what? Nobody creates belonging for you. Nobody. Nobody could possibly do that. Even your spouse. There's no way that anyone on this planet can create belonging for you the way that it can be cultivated on the inside of you so that you show up different, so that you actually don't care what people think. And you're not just saying that as a defense mechanism. It's true to the very core of your being. Now, for some of us, I get a lot of my belonging from my faith. Everybody has their journey, but also we have the ability to feel at home in ourselves no matter where we go. Whether you travel across the world, whether you're walking the Camino in Spain by yourself, whether you're standing alone in an office, standing up for what you believe, you belong. And no one can create that for you. And so that's what this 45-day belonging challenge is I'm giving you 45 tools that I've used for myself to stand firm in who I am, to be the mom that I had to be when we were going through a mental health crisis, to stand up to mental health professionals that I respectfully did not agree with, schools. How do we work out problems that were going on there in our home? It was chaos. How do I be a leader in a community where I'm not always going to be liked? How do I put myself out there? How do I remain brave? How do I cultivate friendships that are actually feeding my soul? I want to take you on 45 tools, so one per day. And by the end of the 45 days, I believe that you're going to feel different. You're going to show up different and we're going to do it together. So if you want in, we're actually starting this week because why not? I'm going to give you 45 audios that you listen to. You could listen to them on the way to work. They're very short. They're 7 minutes. I got 6 videos you can watch. I got a PDF that you can go through that's a journal. I've even turned it into an ebook. So if you like to read rather than listen, so I'm trying to hit you wherever you are so that you can do this. And we're going to start with a little quiz. Little quiz to see where you're at with your inner belonging so that you can measure, hey, at the beginning, this is where I was at, but now look where I am. In 45 days, this is less than 2 months. Yes, less than 2 months. Math is not my skill. You are going to feel so much different. Can you imagine? Can you imagine showing up in a room and saying, I belong here? And then you become a creator of belonging. So, are you ready? Okay, if you are, email me, Connie at conniejakab.com, and let's get going. Friends, keep being brave.